ATMR, and welcome back to another class. Today's class is a power glutes and thighs sculpt. So we will be working the major muscle groups in the lower body as well as the core. So I would go a little bit more towards the medium to heavier side of things as far as the dumbbells go. So for equipment today, you will need a set of dumbbells as well as a yoga block and a soft surface mat. The yoga block does help us create that deeper range of motion. It's going to help us in our core sequencing to help further engage the deep core. So if you don't have a yoga block, you can opt in to use a Pilates ball or any sort of elevation that you have. You can also entirely opt out of the yoga block. So go ahead and get your space set up and meet me in a seated position with your feet in front of the body at hip distance apart. Knees are bent, fingertips are behind our body pointing away from us. We're just going to start by dropping our knees over to the right with a 90-degree angle in those knees. Big inhale through the nose, slowly beginning to connect the breath to the core, the breath to the body. Big exhale, go ahead and drop the knees over to the left. So your distance from your heels to your glutes is really just going to be entirely up to you and what feels comfortable for you. With every single movement today, just really encourage you to listen to your body. If you feel like you can push it, absolutely push it. If you feel like you need to slow it down, take a pause, take a beat, pause the video. Always meet yourself where it's at. If at any point you notice that your form is compensating because you're using the equipment, always ditch the equipment and focus on form first. Alternating these rocks back and forth. One more on the left. And then as you come over to the right, we're just going to come into a pigeon pose. So with your right knee bent in a figure 4 position, we're going to extend this left leg out behind our body. Both hands are going to come down to your mat. Right hand is out behind that right knee. And we're just going to start by giving little rocks back and forth with your gaze towards the front of the room, sitting nice and tall, the crown of your head reaching through the ceiling. Big inhale through the nose. Every single exhale, we sink a little bit deeper into this hip. Option here to drop it down on the forearms just for a little bit deeper of a stretch. Good. We're switching sides in 3, in 2, and 1. Flipping the left toes under, flipping the right toes under, shifting the hips back towards the ceiling, dropping your chest down towards the quads, all 10 fingertips pressing into the mat. Good. Walk the feet in just a few inches. We're going to begin by pedaling out the feet, dropping right heel down to the mat, alternating, dropping left heel down to the mat. Going at a pace that feels comfortable for you. It might be a little bit faster than me. It might be a little bit slower than me. You can also walk your hands in just a few inches just to intensify that stretch here. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, meeting me back at center, walking the feet back out. Big inhale, rounding up on the toes, rounding out the spine, and driving that left leg up, coming into that figure 4 stretch on that left side. Left hand to the outside of that left knee, right hand finds mat, sitting nice and tall, nice long spine. Every single exhale, we're just sinking a little bit deeper into this left hip here. Right knee is nice and planted on your mat. Hips are shifted forward. You have the option to do little rocks back and forth. Other option to intensify the depth here, you just drop the forearms down. Coming back into that downward dog in 3, in 2, and 1. Both hands find mat. Shift that left leg back, flip the toes under, and shift the hips back towards the ceiling. I want you to drop the chest down towards the mat a little bit deeper here. Good. Coming up onto the toes with your inhale, meeting me in a push plank position. From here, I want you to bring this left foot to the center of your mat. Right foot drives forward into this deep lunge. Drop the left knee down to your mat, flip the left toes under, and we're just gonna sink into this right hip, into this deep static lunge. Good. Give me a few big breaths here. We're just gonna shift the hips back, stretching out this right hamstring, grabbing onto the right toes. Beautiful. Coming back into this right lunge. And then sitting it back once more. Good. Shifting over to that left side, left foot forward, right leg is back, toes are flipped out, and we're just gonna sink into the left hip now. Hold it here for a few deep breaths, tucking that pelvis under, drawing the rib cage in, bringing the core in and up. Good. Sinking it back, grabbing onto the left toes, feeling the stretch in the hamstrings. Coming back into that deep lunge, opening up the hips a little bit wider here and shifting it back. Beautiful. Slowly make your way into a lying position on your back. Feet are nice and planted on your mat at hip distance apart. Hands come down by your sides. For visualization purposes, I'm going to bring my hands up just so that you can see. I want you to begin by giving me a nice little arch in the spine that feels comfortable. So filling your belly up with air, feel the ribs expand and create this space between your spine and your mat, drawing your belly up towards the ceiling. From here, I want you to take a big exhale through the mouth, tucking the rib cage under, tucking the pelvis under, and slowly beginning to plant one vertebrae down on your mat at a time, decreasing all space from your back and your mat. Inhale, fill the belly up with air. Give me that nice subtle arch in the spine. I want your hands planted down by your sides as you do this, all fingertips planted on your mat, all 10 toes and heels planted on your mat. Big exhale. Tuck it under. Good. One more inhale. Arching up the spine, bringing the belly up towards the ceiling. And then an exhale. Bringing every single vertebrae down on your mat, bone by bone. Holding this neutral position here with this pelvis tucked under, we're going to keep our hands down by our sides. Heels are planted into our mat. We're just going to begin by lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, pressing through our shoulder blades, using our exhale to lift the hips up. Inhale, lower, tap it down. Exhale, press it up. Squeezing the glutes, thinking about mind to muscle connection. What muscles are we working here? I really want you to think about the glutes, the back of the thighs, so those hamstrings, and the glute hamstring tie-in right here. Also, thinking about the core, visually pulling the core in and up. If you're feeling that lower back engage a little bit too much, I want you to really focus on tucking that pelvis under and not arching that spine. Little lifts, little lowers will speed it up. We lower and lift, lower and lift. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down and grab onto that block. If you don't have a block, like I said, you can use a Pilates ball here. You can also just do it entirely body weight. You could also intensify it and add a dumbbell. So if you want to get crazy with it, go ahead and get crazy with it. So from here, keeping that nice neutral position that we just built off of, feet are planted on the mat. This block comes directly above the chest, and we're just going to begin by tucking the chin slightly and lifting the shoulders, neck, and chest off your mat just a few inches. So we're going to lower and lift. Little pulses, lower and lift. Really engaging those upper abs right here. We lift and lift. Reaching through and up. Your gaze is towards the top of your knees. We lift, lift. Beautiful. Pulling that core in, making sure that you have 0 space between the spine and your mat. Feet are planted on your mat. We lift, lift. Adding in a rotation in 3, in 2, lower down. We lift, rotate that block over to the left side, hovering a few inches over your mat, lower back to neutral position. We lift, shift to the right, and lower. Lift, shift to the left, and lower. Adding in that rotation, engaging those obliques, upper abs. This entire time, I want you to really focus on keeping that spine nice and neutral to your mat, lifting the fingertips nice and long away from the crown of the head. Your gaze follows the block. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift to the right and lower. Lift and lower. Knees come up, block comes in between those. Knees in 3, in 2, in 1. Bringing the knees up into tabletop position here. Hands come behind the head with nice wide elbows, protecting that neck. We're going to lift the neck up off of the mat just gently. We're going to lower legs down, lower head and spine down to mat. Exhale, drive it up back to center. Inhale, lower, tap the toes down, super soft. Exhale, drive it up. Inhale, lower, and drive. Lower, and drive, squeezing that block. As you inhale and lengthen, you feel the ribs expand, you feel that belly up with air. As you exhale, you drive those knees in towards the face. Squeeze that block, engaging the inner thighs here. Lower abs are engaging. We lift and lower. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. A little lower. And lift, grab onto the ball. Make sure your shins are parallel towards the ceiling. We're going to just place this block onto the shins. We're going to lengthen toes away from fingertips. Exhale, drive, grab onto the block. Inhale, lengthen, grabbing the block with the fingers. Exhale, drive, meet me back at center. Lengthen and drive. Driving the knees in towards the face, we lengthen and drive. Lengthen and drive. Feet find mat in 3, in 2, in 1. Hands grab onto the block. Block comes directly over that chest. Feet are hip distance apart. We lift and lower. Lift and lower. Little lift, little lower. Press through this block, almost as though you are pressing the ceiling away with the block. Instead of rounding up, I want you to press through and lower. Lift and lower. Your gaze is at the block. Squeeze the block with the hands. Adding in that rotation in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, lift it over to the right or to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, reaching over to the right. Inhale, back to center, alternating sides, keeping the fingertips nice and long. We lift and twist, lower, reset. Lift and twist, lower, reset. Can you reach those fingertips up a little bit further, getting a little bit more depth with every single exhale, and reach. We lower and reach. Lower and reach. Knees come up into tabletop in 3, in 2, in 1. Block comes between those knees. Hands come behind the head, nice wide elbows. We lower head down, tap the toes down. We exhale, meet back at center. Inhale, lower, tap the toes. Exhale, center. Squeeze in that block. Embracing the little shakes that are happening as you bring the block up. To modify this movement, you can ditch the block. You can decrease your range of motion. You can also go at a slower pace. Meet your body where it's at. We lift and lower. Block comes onto the knees, onto the shins in 3, in 2, in 1. Knees are in tabletop position, 90-degree angle. Block comes on top of those knees. We lengthen and drive. Grab onto the block. We lengthen and drive. Alternating back and forth with that block, finding length from the fingertips to the toes. for 3, 2, and 1. Grab onto the block. Feet find mat, hip distance apart. Block comes directly over the chest. You tuck that pelvis under. One more time, we lift and lower. We lift and lower. Stick with me. Those abs are really starting to burn out here. Use that breath, tuck that rib cage under. We lift, lower, lift, and lower. Your gaze is towards the ceiling. Adding in that rotation in 3, 2, and 1. We lift, cross over to the left. Big inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, cross over to the right. Inhale, bring it back to center. We cross it left, back, right, back. Every single time you cross and rotate, you exhale, use that breath to find depth. Keeping your spine nice and neutral to your mat. Knees come up into tabletop in 3, in 2, in 1, drive it in. Block comes between those knees. I want you to squeeze that block incredibly tight, engaging those inner thighs. Hands come behind the head. We lower, tap the toes down. We exhale, elbows and knees meet in center, at center. Lower, lift, lower, and lift. Inhale, find length. Exhale, drive it in. Last 10 seconds here. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Block comes on top of those shins. We find length and drive. Grab onto the block. Lengthen and drive. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew, set that block aside. Hands come down by your side. Just drop the knees over to the right. Slow down that heart rate. Letting those knees sink and feel the stretch in the core. Give me 3 big breaths here. Good. On your next exhale, go and drop the knees over to the right or to the left. Beautiful. On your next exhale, go and draw the knees back to center. Bring the knees up, wrap the hands around the thighs, and slowly roll your way up. Go ahead and meet me in a standing position. Your block is going to come to the front right of your mat, horizontal. We're going to grab onto those dumbbells, coming into both hands. Dumbbells are going to be facing our thighs, palms facing in. From here, our right foot is going to come onto this yoga block with an elevated heel, so creating a lot of tension on that right quad. From here, we're just going to step this left foot back, and we're going to hold this static lunge. Gaze is towards the front of the room, shoulders down. We're going to inhale, lower into the lunge. Exhale, press through this heel. Squeeze the glutes as you come up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press it up. If this block and this elevation is a little bit too much, you can always ditch the block. We lift, lower, lift, and lower. Good. I want you to keep a little bit more of a narrow stance here with the lunge. Lower and press. Keeping a nice neutral spine, tucking that chin down slightly. A lot of us want to kind of bring our gaze up. I want you to tuck the chin slightly, drop the shoulders, and lower. Lift, lower, and lift. We're gonna add in an RDL in 3, in 2, in 1. Step it forward. We hinge, press through, step it back, and lower. Up, forward, press it back, press it forward and lower. Let's get this a little bit more fluid. Your dumbbells are just grazing your legs as you are lowering. We're pressing the hips back, keeping a nice neutral spine, making sure that our chest is parallel towards the ground as we lower into the RDL. Shifting the hips back, keeping a soft bend in the knees. In 3, in 2, and 1. We're gonna curtsy. We're gonna do the RDL, press it up, and then come into a curtsy. So left leg is coming back and behind that right leg. Coming back into the RDL. We press it forward, we step it back and curtsy. Inhale, lower it down, keeping a nice neutral spine. Exhale, pressing the hips forward, coming back into that curtsy lunge. For 5, 4, 3, 2, stepping into that curtsy lunge. We're gonna hold it here. We lunge and up. Lunge and up for 5, 4, 3, 2. Big press and up. Good. Shifting this yoga block over to the left side of the mat. Left heel is gonna come on to that yoga block. Hands come down by the sides, gazes towards the front of the room. Right leg steps back, and we're gonna lower into the lunge. Now working on that left side, and up. Lower and up. Good. Using that breath, keeping a nice long neutral spine. Adding in that RDL in 3, in 2, and 1. Step it forward, hinge it back. Press those hips forward, squeeze the glutes, step it back and lower. Up, forward, back. Emphasize that squeeze on the glute. Shifting the hips back, shifting the hips forward. We squeeze back, lower and up. Good. Adding in that curtsy in 3, in 2, and 1. We do the RDL, press the hips back. Exhale, press through. Right leg comes back and across, sinking into that right hip. We come down, up, back, and across. Down, up, back, and across. We hold that curtsy in 5, 4, 3, 2. We're gonna curtsy it out. We lower, lift, lower, lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big press. Whew, those legs are on fire, shifting that block over back to the right side. Right heel comes on that block. Left leg is hip distance apart, dumbbells down by the side. Give me a big inhale here. And then exhale to prepare. Good. Stepping it back into that static lunge. Here we go. We lower and lift. Lower and lift. Pressing through the right heel here. Embracing those shakes. If this block is too much, ditch the block and stick with me for 5, 4, 3, 2. Press it up. Foot comes forward, hinge it back. And up. Back and down. Up and forward. Back. Good. Keep this pace right here. Adding in that curtsy in 3, in 2, and 1. Big press. Hinge, press, step it back. Forward, hinge, press, step it back. Holding that curtsy in 3, 2, big press. Sink into it. We lower, lift, lower, lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Shift that block over to the left side of your mat. Left foot, left heel comes onto the mat. Feet are hip distance apart. Here we go. Step it back with that right foot. We lower into this left heel and press. Lower, press. Gaze is towards the front of the room. Dropping the shoulders down. These dumbbells are just hanging by the side. Stepping up for the RDL in 3, 2, 1. We come up. Forward, hinge, up. Good. Step it back. Down, up, and forward. These dumbbells are grazing the front of your body. For 3, 4, 2, and 1. Step that leg back into the curtsy. We lower, lift, forward, and hinge. Up, back, lower, and forward. For 5, 4, 3, 2, big press. We'll go one more because we gotta hold that curtsy. Here we go. We lower, lift, lower, lift. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step out of it. Set those dumbbells down. Set that block aside. Meet me in a nice wide standing position with your toes externally rotated. Big inhale, big exhale. Drop that chest forward and just give me this forward fold hang. Slow down that heart rate. With every exhale, just drop that chest a little bit deeper into the mat. Shift the hips over to the left. Moving it over to the right. Meeting me back at center. And when it feels comfortable, slowly roll your way up. Heading into this next sequence, we're gonna be using our yoga block, and we're gonna place it laterally, long ways, at the back right of our mat. We can just set these dumbbells aside, and we're gonna come into a nice, wide lunging position. So right foot is back on, maybe, on this block. Left foot is forward. And we're gonna sink all of our weight into this left heel. So we're just gonna lower down into the lunge. And then we're gonna exhale, press up through the lunge. Your hands can either be on your hips, in prayer position. Slowing this down, really focusing on your breath to core, tucking that core in and up. We press. This back leg is really just here as a guide. It's really not doing much of any work at all. We're gonna add in an arm extension with that right side. So go ahead and place the left hand on that left hip. Right hand is down by your side. We're gonna lower, extend right arm up overhead and lift, lowering that right hand down. Lower and lift. Sinking into that right hip, left hip. Press through the left heel. Lower, extend, press, and lift. We're gonna hold this arm extension and holding that lunge in 3, in 2, and 1. Little lift, little lower. Little lift, little lower, pulse it out. All your weight on the heels, fingertips reaching far away. We lower, lower, lower. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come behind the head. We inhale, lower into the lunge. Exhale, press it up. Inhale, hinge it forward. Exhale, press it through. Inhale, lower. Up. Hinge and through. Squeezing the glutes as you are hinging forward. So as you're coming out of the hinge, you're pressing your hips towards the front of the room. We lower, lift, hinge, and up. lower, lift, hinge, and up for 3, for 2, good, press it through, and shift that block over to the left side of your mat. Left leg is back on that block, right leg is forward. Hands can come down by your side or in prayer position. Your lunge, your knees are never tracking over your toes. We're just gonna inhale, lower, exhale, press through that right heel, squeezing the glutes at the top. Gaze is towards the front of the room. We lift and lower, lift and lower. If this elevation is too much, you can always take it away. You're never married to the equipment. Keeping the right hand on the hip, left hand comes down, and we're just gonna start by lowering, extending left arm up. Exhale, press through that right heel, come on back to center. Inhale, lower, find length. Press, back to center. Let's get this a little bit more fluid. We're gonna hold that extension in 3, in 2, we lower, little up, little down, and pulse, pulse, pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, press through, hands come behind the head, nice wide elbows. Inhale, lower into the lunge. Exhale, press it up. Inhale, hinge it forward. Exhale, press it through. So as you hinge, you have a bend in that right knee. We lower, lift, hinge, and up. Lower, press, hinge, and up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shifting the block over to the right side of your mat. Right leg comes back, left leg comes forward. Hands come down by the side. We inhale, lower and lift. Lower and lift. Last time through. Left hand comes on that hip. Right arm extends down in 3. In 2. Big press and lift. Press. Extend. Reaching the fingertips nice and long. Away from those toes. Back behind our body. Holding for that pulse in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We lower, little lift, little lower. Reach those fingertips nice and tall for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come behind the head. We lower, up, hinge, forward, lower, up, hinge, and forward. Last 10 seconds here on this side. Finish strong. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last time through. Shift that block over. Left foot comes back, right foot comes forward. Hands come down by the sides. We lower and up, down and up. All your weight on that right heel. You guys are gonna be sore tomorrow. We lower and lift. Right hand comes on that hip. Left hand comes down in 3. In 2. We lift, extend. We press and lower. Lift, extend. Press and lower. So squeezing those glutes as you come to the top of this. Holding for the pulse. In 3. In 2. And pulse. 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 Right here. Stick with me. You have 5, 4, 3, 2. Big press. Hands come behind the head. We lower. Up. Hinge. And forward, lower, up, hinge, press it forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down to your mat. Set that block aside. Meet me in a seated position. We'll go toe to toe, heel to heel with nice wide knees. Grabbing onto the ankles. Placing those elbows to the inside of the ankle or the knees. Pressing the knees away down to the mat. Slowing down the heart rate. Taking control back over our breath. Grabbing onto the toes. Sinking the chest down towards the feet. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Meeting me in a side lying position on your left side. Your hand is going to rest in your left hand. Your left leg is fully extended, right leg is fully extended, and I do want you to bring those legs kind of to the front corner of your mat, so you're not directly stacked right here, you're at a bit of an angle. We're just going to start by placing the right hand in front of the body. This is our anchor. Hips are facing the front of the room. We're just going to begin by lifting toes towards ceiling, lower, tap them down. Lift, point the toes, lower, tap it down. So we're stopping at a place that feels comfortable for you. I know my legs are very fatigued right now, so my lifts are a little bit lower than they typically be. You just meet your body where it's at. We lift, lower, lift, and lower. We're gonna hold that extension at the top in 3, 2, and 1. We lift. We're gonna arch it back, and then we're gonna arch it forward. So creating a half moon, crescent moon, half circle, forward and back. So we're really having to engage the core right here as we are moving through different planes of motion. So use that core, make sure the hips stay nice and square towards the front of the room, focusing on that right outer glute. We're forward and back for 5, 4, 3, 2. Bring this right leg right back to center, holding it up. From here, you're really gonna wanna use this right leg. We're just gonna lift the bottom leg up, meet at center, and lower it down. We lift, lower, lift, and lower. Good. Using this arm as an anchor, this right leg is fully extended and burning. Thinking about the inner thigh on the left leg for 3, for 2, and 1. Right leg comes back, bent behind the left leg. Right hand stays forward. We're gonna point the left toes. From here, we're just gonna lift the inner thigh and lower it down. Lift and lower. Let's speed up this pace. Almost like a pulse, but a little bit longer than a pulse. We're leading with this inner thigh, so almost as though we are pressing the ceiling away with that inner thigh. Little lift, little lower. For 10, 9, you have 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shifting over to that right side. You can just flip over, or you can shift over like me. Right hand, or right, your head is resting in that right hand. Right leg is fully extended, left leg is fully extended to the upper right side of the mat. Left hand's in front of that body as our anchor. We lift left toes towards the ceiling and lower. So we're not tapping the toes all the way back down towards the right, but little lifts, little lowers. Super fluid. Really focusing on the time under tension here. If you wanted to intensify this movement, I'm not sure you do, but if you do, go ahead and add a band. That would be crazy. You could also add ankle weights. Little lift, little lower. We're gonna hold it up and perform our arches in 3, in 2, we lift, come back, up, and forward. So I want you to draw beautiful little half circles, okay? Leading with the toes. I also want you to reach the tippy toes as far away from the crown of your head as you can. So really flexing that foot. really squeezing the outer thigh, that outer booty. We're gonna hold that center and lift that bottom leg in 3. In 2, meet me back at center. We lift, lower, lift, and lower. Using this left hand to press against, focusing on that right inner thigh for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left leg comes back, right toes are still pointed and externally rotated out just a little bit. We're just gonna lift this right inner thigh and lower, making sure the hips are nice and square towards the front of the room. Little lifts, little lowers. Leading with the inner thigh for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shifting back over to that left side. Left hand comes, why can't I say that? Head comes into the left hand. Both legs come out in front of that mat. Toes are pointed. We lift the right leg up and lower it down. Pointing the toes away, we lift and lower. Lift and lower. Leading with the right outer hip. So your abductors. Leading with your right outer glute. Holding and creating our arches in 3, in 2, and 1. We go back and forward, back and forward. These glutes are absolutely on fire. Thighs are on fire. We hold in 3, 2, meet me at center. Lift the left leg down and up, down and up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right leg comes back. Left leg is pointed and externally rotated in front of that body. We come up and down, up and down, keeping a nice long spine, making sure our shoulders aren't coming up towards the ears for 10. Little lifts, little lowers, no momentum in that body for 3, 2, and 1. Switching over to that other side. Laying our head in the right hand, legs come forward. Last time through, this is it. Left hand in front of that body. We lift the left leg and lower it down. Lift it up, lower it down. Making sure your hips are facing the front of the room. We hold for the arches in 3, 2, 1. We go back and up, back and up. No swaying in the hips. You control this movement with the core. Drawing the rib cage in, drawing the core in and up. Little tight circles for 5, 4, 3, 2, back at center. Lift the right leg and lower, up and down. This is it. Up and down, up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left leg comes back, right leg comes out. We lift it up and down, leading with the right inner thigh. Breathing, connecting the breath to the core. No momentum here. Little lift, little lowers. Let's speed it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down. We need a nice little rest on the back. Go ahead and leave that left foot planted on your mat. Right foot is going to come up, crossing the right ankle over the left knee. Go ahead and place your right hand on the inside of that right knee and just give me a nice, soft little press. Those hips are probably tired. Give me a little rock back and forth. Taking big breaths, slowing down the heart rate. Regaining your breath back for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right foot comes down, left foot comes up and over. Left hand comes to the inside of that left knee. Give me soft little rocks back and forth. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Both knees are going to come into the chest, and I just want you to give yourself a nice, deep, big hug, wrapping those arms around the knees, resting your head down to your mat, and just really hugging those knees into your chest, really stretching out those hips right here. Still slowing down the heart rate and slowing down the breath. Amazing job today. This week's classes are intense from here on out for the rest of this challenge. So make sure you're resting, make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Amazing job today. Go ahead and bring those legs up, wrap the hands around the thighs, and slowly roll your way up. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. I had so much fun with you guys in today's class. I'm so excited to kick up the heat with the next workouts this week. So if you've enjoyed this workout, please make sure you let me know, and any and all feedback is always appreciated and wanted. So yeah, thank you for joining me today, and in the meantime, I will see you guys tomorrow for the next one.